So, hi and welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is David D. Fabus. I live in Maywood, New Jersey.
Okay. And how are you related to LGBT community?
I am a gay man, recently married to my partner of 7 years.
Awesome. And can I ask you, what are your thoughts on the fact that Bergen County does not have an LGBT center?
Honestly, Anthony, when you first contacted me to talk about this, I was shocked that there wasn't one already. I had thought we were all better than this. I had thought we had come further than this in 2021. Maybe because of my age at being 61, I'm a little out of the loop, and maybe because I don't have the need for that. I just sort of thought it was there.
Mhm.
So I am actually shocked to find out we don't have one, and I definitely think there should be a need for it. I think we live in a very diverse county, and an LGBTQ center is something that we should have.
Yeah. And do you see a need for it, like a current need? Because a lot of people, it's like, I'm fine. There is no need. Do you think there's an actual need?
No, I definitely think there's a need. I mean, I could go back to just myself growing up, where this was a secret that you kept to yourself, or maybe to a select friend. I'm not even going to say friends, a select friend, and there was no place to go and get information, or to talk about your feelings. I have friends who have children whose children have come out to them. They've come to me because they don't know what to say to them. Um, and I would think if there was a center, they might have resources, where they could go and get good information, not information that comes off the streets, or not be judged by anybody. Um, so, and I know just from other friends here in town, there are transgendered youth in the school systems. And I know that some of the parents have struggled with that. Um, I think I think Maywood happens to be a very accepting community, but I can't imagine that that's that way all across Bergen County.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So I know teachers who often say that there's just not enough adequate resources
Yeah.
for their LGBTQ, particularly some of the transgendered students, which have a hard time. Um, but on the other hand, I think kids are a little bit more accepting these days. But
You
I
hope.
still think
You hope.
what
You
we
hope.
hope, yes, we hope. Um, but I definitely think, just based on my own experience growing up, maybe I wish that there was a place that I could have gone and gotten better resources. You know, Even during I lived through the AIDS crisis. I'm of that age. There were really no place to go. I know some grassroots, organizations kind of popped up, like Buddies, started out that way. The Gay Activist Alliance was around, but there was really no center where people could go, and even for non-gay people to go and get information. There was none of it.
Yeah. And that's
So
interesting that you say that because it's more than just LGBT people. There's the extended family, there's friends, there's people that are in relationship that would like to get that information. There's professionals, like we're really lucky in New Jersey and Bergen County when it comes to rights and such. But like GSA, Gay Straight Alliances in colleges and high schools, but younger middle schools does not have any of that stuff, and that's where it is most needed. But I also see the schools will not touch that because then parents, some parents would have real issues with that, thinking you're
right,
turning a child gay, which we know it's ridiculous, and I
right.
can see the schools hesitation with that. But having a center will allow people to come in and talk, and or they can put those, help those kids have a place to go to, right?
I agree.
And
I agree.
so
Absolutely.
it's more than just the LGBT population. It's more.
Exactly. And I could think of even like basic things now. So I could look at it that I'm entering into retirement. Maybe a center would have activities for older gay men and women. which, I don't believe that exists. I was actually surprised at how many gay couples I know called me, emailed or texted me and asked me what is the process for them to get married, because they didn't even know that. I mean, so I think, a center where people might be able to have resources and find out how those things take place
Yeah.
would be really good.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, I've been talking to a lot of people and I'm like, an LGBT resource center. It says it all in the name, but
Yeah.
people like what they understand of what I'm saying is completely different. They're like, so,
Right.
What are you going to do with this? It's like, provide resources, connect the dots. That's what it is.
Right.
It's like, that's all it needs to do. We don't
Right.
have to reinvent the wheel. There are people doing the work in Bergen County, but they're not being connected to the people are not being connected to the resources. So
Right. I definitely think it's needed. At my age, if I had kids, I would like for them to have a place that they could go and feel comfortable and get information. Maybe it's just information on how to talk to your parents.
Yeah.
It's a very big step. So yes,
Yeah.
I'm and 100% would support an LGBTQ center in Bergen County.
Awesome. So this is your platform, and at the end of the interview, I always ask, do you have anything else you would like to mention? Any other thoughts on this, or are you good with where you are right now?
I'm good with where we are. I just wish that as a whole, people would see other people, maybe not even just gay people, just people that are different from one another, and see just more inclusion
Mm-hmm.
in our communities.
Awesome. And so, to be clear, do you give consent, because this is eventually going to be made public? Do you give consent to that?
Absolutely.
And I will email you once we're ready to publish it, so you can still look at it and say, okay, this is true to what the interview, what I said and everything.
Mhm.
And also, at any given time, for any reason, you can just say, hey, take this down, and it'll disappear. But just give me a reasonable amount of time to do that.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so good.
Okay. Great. We're all good.
All right, thank you. Let me just stop.